Life's crossroads always seem to turn at the most unexpected moments. I opened my eyes and was stunned. No desk, no test papers, no rustling sound of writing in the exam hall. I was standing in a circular frosted glass room, with 8 spotlights shining down from above and all around. The lights so glaring it made you want to curse. A few lines of text flickered on the electronic screen directly in front of me. Talent. Insight. Level. Tier 0 Level 1. Candidates, please keep your information confidential. Then came a sharp smack. I raised my hand and slapped myself across the face. I didn't hold back. My cheek went numb. This had to be a dream. I was listening to the English listening test, the last subject of the college entrance exam. How could I possibly end up in a hellhole like this? I closed my eyes, then opened them again. Still the glass room. I'm done for. I really transmigrated. In my heart, I cursed the heavens 800 times over. What kind of normal person transmigrates during the last subject of the college entrance exam? What about that promised $300,000 scholarship for getting the top score? I'd already applied to the Military Science and Technology University, just waiting to devote myself to the country. Alarms blared through the room, piercing my eardrums. A man in his 30s at the door muttered, "Even if you've awakened, there's no need to get this excited, right?" Then he shouted at me, "Student, you really have awakened a beastmaster talent. Stop hitting yourself and get out here, quick. Other people finish in 1 minute. You've already been in there 10 minutes. You're holding things up." I silently opened the door and walked out. The field was packed solid with students. Behind me stood 10 side-by-side glass rooms for testing, with 7 or 8 people lined up at each door. Aside from the one I had just come out of, whose screen showed a green pass, the other 9 all showed red fail. I walked very slowly, one hand on my head, as 2 sets of memories fought wildly in my mind. I really had transmigrated. I had gone from an orphan to someone with family and friends. In this world, around the age of 16, some people awaken beastmaster talents, form contracts with spirit beasts, move mountains and overturn seas, and rise to the pinnacle of life. Brother Tang, you awakened a talent. As expected of a genius. A tall, burly guy charged out of the line and threw an arm around my neck. Yang Fan, my best buddy for years. Brother Tang, why did your test take so long? You okay? There are only a little over 20 people before it's my turn. You've already awakened. If I don't. When you get rich, don't forget me. We are the genius twin stars. You're definitely a genius too. Ha ha ha, you're right. Then the 2 of us can go to Beastmaster University together. The surrounding students gradually gathered around, all talking at once and asking about my talent. Before I could say much, a sharp shout exploded over us. Everyone quiet down. A woman dressed in leather pants, a leather jacket, and leather shoes strode over with her chin raised, her boots clicking against the ground. Zhou Shumi, our homeroom teacher. Her figure was impressive, and her ability to throw hands was even more impressive. It had only been a week since school started, and Yang Fan and I had already been dealt with by her several times. We were traumatized. Wang Jian, weren't you listening in class? Beastmaster talents are all confidential. What are you asking around for? Back to your lines, all of you. The crowd instantly scattered like startled birds and beasts. Li Tang, you have 5 seconds. Get back in line. How can a simple test take you this long, dawdling around? Yes, Ms. Zhou. Zhou Shumi gave me an extra look, a trace of surprise flashing through her eyes. She probably hadn't expected this little monkey to be so polite today. And she didn't get the chance to kick me. What a pity. I returned to the line and began studying my physical condition. A clear image surfaced in my mind. This was the so-called Beastmaster space. About 1 cubic meter, pitifully small. I silently repeated insight in my mind. My gaze fell on Zhou Shumi, who was maintaining order ahead, and my eyes seemed to brighten for an instant as a string of information appeared. Name, Zhou Shumi. Age, 28. Level, Tier 3, Level 6. Talent, damage deepening. Number of spirit beasts, 2. Measurements. Before I could make out the strange key details that followed, my head suddenly sank, my vision went black, and I passed out on the spot. When I regained consciousness again, I heard Teacher Zhou's voice by my ear. This time our school did pretty well. Out of 1,056 freshmen, 85 turned out to be talent users. If both parents are beast tamers, the probability of their children developing a talent is a bit higher. After all, Heian City is only a county-level city, so these numbers are decent enough. The kid's awake. I opened my eyes to see an old man in his 60s looking at me with a kindly smile. Kid, your innate spiritual power is pretty good. You can already use your talent skill before even reaching Tier 1. Check how you feel. Does your body still feel uncomfortable anywhere? Of course, a headache for 2 or 3 days is normal, so don't be afraid. My head doesn't hurt. Before I could finish, there was a dull clang, and a sharp pain exploded in my head, making me roll around on the bed instantly. Through the gaps between my fingers, I saw Zhou Shumi's hand still hanging in midair. This woman is terrifying beyond belief. Brat, you've got some nerve. Is your talent insight or X-ray vision? How dare you use it on me? If I catch you doing it again, I'll break your legs. Zhou Shumi's face was full of killing intent, and her right hand was still gesturing above my head. The old man beside us just watched with a kindly smile. At least pretend to stop her. I was wrong. Teacher Zhou, I was wrong. My ability is insight, not X-ray vision. Please calm down. I desperately shrank backward, dodging that slender hand that could come down again at any moment. Insight is actually a pretty good ability. Although it's not a combat talent, its support functions are very strong. The old man nodded. This is Vice Principal Liu, who also serves as the director of the school hospital. Zhou Shumi introduced with a curl of her lip. Old Liu, you're too polite. Ever since Master Qian Jinlai invented the beast-taming encyclopedia 30 years ago, hasn't this talent basically become useless? She raised her left hand, which wore an electronic device similar to a watch. The beast-taming encyclopedia was invented based on the insight talent. It was originally rated B grade, but later it was directly changed to F grade. Vice Principal Liu put away his smile. But you all need to remember, the same talent can vary in strength. The key lies in how the beast tamer develops, uses, and evolves it. In the end, what matters for a beast tamer is actual combat ability. He seemed to recall something, paused for a moment, then returned to his kindly smiling expression. Your body's fine now, so go back with Teacher Zhou. I followed 3 steps behind Zhou Shumi as we walked out of the school hospital. The setting sun spilled down, stretching our shadows into 2 long silhouettes. Looking at her alluring gait, the image I had seen through insight still lingered in my mind. A tier 3 powerhouse. No wonder her hits hurt so much. As we walked, Zhou Shumi slowed her pace. Once you've awakened a beast-taming talent, you're no longer a child. Your insight talent is average, so you'll have to work desperately hard over the next 3 years of high school. She suddenly turned serious, which made me a little unaccustomed to it. I nodded. Thank you, teacher. I'll work hard. Tomorrow at 7:30, the students who have awakened talents are to gather in the school auditorium. Don't forget. Because of you, I still have to work overtime. Now hurry up and get your ass home. My house isn't far from the school, about a 20-minute walk. The closer I got to my front door, the more uneasy I felt. In my previous life, I was an orphan and had never experienced the feeling of having parents waiting at home for me. Bro, the clear cry interrupted my thoughts. A girl like a porcelain doll came running toward me. About 1.6 meters tall, wearing a simple white t-shirt with jeans and sneakers, her ponytail swishing behind her. The baby fat on her oval face hadn't faded yet, making her both cute and full of vitality. It was my younger sister, Li Yuanyuan. She grabbed my arm at once, her little mouth chattering non-stop like a machine gun. Bro, did you really awaken a beast-taming talent? So does that mean our family is going to make it big? Bro, what does awakening feel like? Is it like a primordial power surging out from your body? Bro, say something. Out of habit, I pinched her cheek. Where did a little brat get so many questions? We'll talk about it with mom and dad when we get back. You pinch my face again. It'll make me ugly. A sharp pain shot through my waist. A woman's pinching skill really is innate. We bickered and played our way through the door. Mom, Wang Na, came out of the kitchen carrying a dish. When she saw me, she quickly put the plate down, felt my forehead, then gave my body a thorough check from head to toe, shouting, "You're back. Are you okay, Mom?" I had never called out that word in my previous life, so I paused for a moment. A happy smile appearing on my face. Don't worry, I'm perfectly fine. Did Teacher Zhou call back? Yes, Teacher Zhou called me around 6 and said you were fine and had already left school. A little after 5, Yang Fan even came by specially and said you had awakened your talent, got so excited that you fainted, and were carried off to the school clinic by Teacher Zhou. I was about to go to the hospital, but your dad stopped me. Yang Fan said he's a genius too. All calm and collected, nothing like you getting overly excited. Li Yuanyuan cut in. TCH, he's really shameless. Before the test, he said, if we become rich, don't forget each other. And after the test, he started saying he had the makings of a genius. Dad, Li Shampao, walked out of the study and sat down at the dining table. He works at the City Patrol Bureau. He's 1.8 meters tall, with a square face, a straight back, and an overall tough, serious demeanor. He's serious when he talks, and even more serious when he uses his hands. Someone in our family has awakened a talent too. Shouting. From now on, you need to be more mature. Stop fooling around and focus on your cultivation. Once the dishes were on the table, Mom poured herself half a glass of wine for the first time ever. Old Li, I'm happy today. I'll have a little drink with you. Haha. Today I'm basking in Xiao Tang's glory. Come on, let's all raise our glasses together and congratulate Xiao Tang on awakening his talent. Dad, I heard Beastmasters are a privileged class. Does the state give them money and resources and arrange jobs for them? Li Yuan asked as she gnawed on braised prawns. Dad put down his glass, his expression turning serious. With rights come duties. 200 years ago, the world's 7 continents merged. Cracks appeared in the sky, ferocious beasts rushed out and attacked humans, and the animals on Blue Star also began to mutate. It took a full 30 years and the sacrifice of countless forebears before the cracks in the sky were sealed, and the ferocious beasts were driven back into the forests. He looked at me and said, shouting, "You've awakened a talent. Once you contract a spirit beast, you'll be a beastmaster. Protecting our homes and defending our country is your bounden duty. If one day you go to the battlefield, never become a deserter." At that, his mood dimmed a little, and Mom also fell silent. Li Tang, you must cultivate diligently. Not studying won't kill you. Not cultivating properly will. Dad drained the wine in his glass in one gulp and wanted to pour another, only to find the bottle missing. Honey, I'm happy today, one more glass. Not a chance. Every time you drink, you snore. One more glass, and you're sleeping in the study. Bro, now that you've awakened, the state will support you. So give me all your allowance from now on. Li Yuan looked at me with a sly grin. I heard beastmasters make a lot of money, but cultivation and raising spirit beasts cost even more. Yuan, I think your allowance should be cut even more in the future. Mom teased. Do I have to subsidize it instead? Lying in bed, I thought back on this absurd day. From the college entrance exam venue to the awakening site, from an orphan to having a family and friends, the 2 sets of memories had turned my mind into a complete mess. Forget it. The past cannot be chased, and the future cannot be anticipated. Since I've come to this world of beast taming, I'm going to make something of myself. Having family by my side is already a great happiness. I closed my eyes and checked my beast tamer talent again. The beast taming space was still clearly visible, and besides insight, another talent actually appeared in my mind. Synthesis evolution. When 3 identical contracted spirit beasts are at the same level, they can be fused for forced evolution. 10 backup beast taming slots are provided within the beast taming space. Dual talents. I suddenly sat up from the bed. Synthesis evolution, 10 backup slots. Wasn't this just the 3-in-1 mechanic from Golden Spatula? Other people raise spirit beasts one by one, but I can field 10 at once. If I awaken a new talent just by sleeping, will I awaken even more in the future? I really am the chosen one of fortune. At 7:30 the next morning, I was standing punctually in the auditorium of Heian No. 1 High School. 85 students stood in formation. Yang Fan stood behind me and leaned over with a smug grin, shouting, "Didn't I tell you I was a genius? My talent can be summed up in just 2 words. Freaking awesome. Definitely S rank. I'll tell you secretly when no one's around. TCH, our school doesn't have any S ranks this time." The chubby Wu Chang cut in disdainfully. "Most people are only F rank to D rank. It's really unfair that 2 poor students like you and Li Tang could awaken talents." Wu Chang is the son of our junior high school's dean of discipline. His grades were always top-notch, and he was a bit arrogant. Yang Fan and I had put him in his place a few times, and instead we ended up becoming friends. "Brother Chang, do you know the talent situation for our year?" I asked. That one Brother Chang made him feel immensely pleased all over. "I'll tell you 2 in secret. This year there are 4 A ranks, 16 B ranks, 26 C ranks, and the rest are all ordinary talents. My dad has connections in the Education Bureau." He lowered his voice. An S rank appeared over at Experimental High School and alarmed the provincial leaders. "You know old Marshal Zhang, right? Zhang Shi, the Grandmaster who quelled the Rift riot in Jiangnan province, was an S rank talent. When the surrounding students heard Marshal Zhang's name, they all began discussing it. Quiet, everyone. At Zhou Shumi's command, the entire auditorium instantly fell silent. She walked onto the stage side by side with a male teacher in his 30s, standing behind a middle-aged man around 50. The middle-aged man had an upright build and sharp eyes. He slowly walked to the front of the stage. He did not speak quickly, but his voice carried clearly into everyone's ears. "Hello, students. I am Wei Lai, the principal of No. 1 High School. Everyone here has awakened a talent, but there is still a long way to go before becoming a powerful beast tamer. Do not waste your talent. Study and cultivate seriously. He paused, then continued. As long as you become a first-tier beast tamer during high school, you will be directly admitted to university, and not only will it cost nothing, there will also be benefits and resources. The audience instantly erupted. So the rumors were true. I can go to college too. But what if I can't reach first tier? Wei Li pressed his hand down, and his voice turned serious. But not all universities are the same. For this class, we hope all of you will enter beast tamer universities, rather than the beast taming departments of ordinary universities. We especially hope the top students will enter Southern Beast Tamer University, Demon Beast Tamer University, or Capital Beast Tamer University. The school has equipped you with complete teaching facilities and cultivation resources. The tuition you paid upon enrollment will be refunded in full within 3 days. The school will provide your first spirit beast. As for more resources, you'll have to fight for them yourselves. Those who perform well will get more. His gaze swept across the whole hall, and everyone he looked at unconsciously straightened their backs. Now that you've awakened your talents, you are no longer ordinary people. The easy days are over. You need to study, cultivate, fight, and even risk your lives. Starting today, everyone must live on campus. Let me emphasize one more point. Unless your life is under threat, you are forbidden from attacking ordinary people. Otherwise, at best you will be expelled. At worst, you will face legal punishment. This year will be divided into 2 classes. Teacher Zhao Weigua, homeroom teacher of Class 1. The male teacher stepped forward and cupped his fists coolly. Teacher Zhou Shumi, homeroom teacher of Class 2. Hello, everyone, I am Zhou Shumi. Her voice was unbelievably gentle, and she even smiled and waved at everyone. Quite a few unfamiliar boys in the audience were staring blankly. I sneered inwardly, acting like a lady again. That was how we were fooled at first too, and in the end we were whipped into shape within a week. Next, I'll leave things to the 2 homeroom teachers. If you have any problems in the next 3 years, you can come to the principal's office to find me. After Wei Li finished speaking, she turned and left briskly. Zhou Shumi stepped forward, her voice returning to its usual capable tone. Next, those whose names are called will be assigned to Class 2. Stand to your right, then follow me. Feng Rue, Lu Jie, Yang Fan, Li Tang. The 43 students of Class 2, line up and follow me. Have you ever really risked your life? In the classroom, all 43 students sat neatly in their seats, and there was not a single sound in the whole class. On the way here, those who whispered to each other and those who didn't line up properly had all received the affectionate greetings of Zhou Shumi's mighty Vajra kick, a mighty Vajra kick in high heels, especially after Li Tang and Yang Fan spread the nickname Mother Tyrannosaurus. The whole class became well-behaved. On the way here, Li Tang had only then realized that number 1 high school was very large, divided into the teaching area and the back mountain. The teaching area was like an ordinary school, mainly prepared for regular students to study in. The back mountain, on the other hand, was specially prepared for training beast tamers. It directly included several teaching buildings, a sports field, a cafeteria, and a small hill over 100 meters high, with quite a few buildings among the woods as well. Zhou Shumi stood at the podium, opened the notebook in her hand, flipped through it briefly, and looked at the students below. Everyone, there's no need to be so restrained. I'm actually very gentle. Yeah, right. Of course, some students may say I'm violent. Hee, but the growth of a beast tamer is more brutal than you imagine. I'm building up everyone's ability to take a beating. For today's first lesson, I'll tell you some basic knowledge about beast tamers. If there's anything you don't understand during the process, you can raise your hand and ask. Everyone already knows the origins of beast tamers, so I won't waste time on that. First, let's talk about what everyone cares about most: how to cultivate and how to contract spirit beasts. As for cultivation, there will be a cultivation method. At present, all beast tamers in Huagua cultivate using the same method, called the Huagua Beast Tamer Advancement Guide. What kind of ridiculous name is that? Li Tang thought. Calling it something like Myriad Beasts Canon or 9 Revolutions Beast Taming Art. Wouldn't that sound much more imposing? Zhou Shumi continued. You'll all be given a copy of this book, and there will also be specialized classes with teachers to provide guidance. But the book can only be kept at school, and the cultivation method must not be passed on to ordinary people. After everyone has mastered this method, it is recommended that you cultivate for no less than 4 hours every day. Of course, if your spiritual power is strong, and you can endure it, you can cultivate a bit longer. As she spoke, Zhou Shumi glanced at Li Tang and continued. Once your level rises to rank 0, level 10, You can contract a spirit beast. Contracting a spirit beast means establishing a contract after communicating with the spirit beast. Every spirit beast is your partner. As for contracting spirit beasts, there are two situations. One is contracting a spirit beast egg. Spirit beast eggs are generally condensed by powerful spirit beasts so that the next generation can grow better, making them more valuable. Their advantages are safety and high loyalty. And generally speaking, spirit beasts have higher talent and grow faster. The disadvantages are weak initial strength, scarcity, and the need for luck. But for beginners like you, they are definitely the best choice. The second kind is directly contracting a spirit beast. The advantage is stronger initial strength, and its talent level can be checked. The disadvantage is that contracting carries risks, and later on, under special circumstances, it may betray its master. The levels of beast tamers and spirit beasts are related, but not absolute. At present, there are two schools among beast tamers. The first mainly focuses on cultivating one spirit beast. For example, if you contracted a spirit beast egg, when your spirit beast strength breaks through to Tier 2, you can also cultivate to Tier 2. In this case, the beast tamer and the spirit beast are about equally strong, so the first high-quality spirit beast is of crucial importance. The second situation is raising multiple spirit beasts. In that case, when you are at Tier 1 level 10, if you contract another spirit beast, you can also advance to Tier 2. Under such circumstances, the beast tamer is generally stronger than the spirit beast. Zhou Shumi paused for a moment and said, while the beast tamer is cultivating, they will also gain physical enhancement and source power. And their combat power is no worse than that of a spirit beast, so they also need to fight. Your curriculum will include combat classes, and when the time comes, I'll make sure to train with you properly. Li Tang and the other students exchanged glances. A mother tyrannosaur teaching combat. Wasn't that just openly beating people up? Make a note of this key point. If your spirit beast dies in battle, you yourself will also suffer backlash, and your total number of contracts will be reduced by 1. As for levels, beast tamers go from Tier 0 to Tier 9. In theory, there is a Tier 10, but so far no one has successfully advanced to it. The strength levels of spirit beasts are the same as those of beast tamers, but they also have talent grades. For example, if a spirit beast has a talent grade of Tier 5, once it grows to Tier 5, its strength will stop increasing. At that point, it needs to evolve, but evolution is very difficult. Evolution is very difficult. Hearing this, Li Tang thought of his second talent. Then my spirit beast's evolution should be much easier. The advantage is mine. As for beast tamer's talents, everyone knows there are 7 grades, SapDef. These are classifications based on the strength of known talent abilities and do not represent actual combat strength. Zhou Shumi changed the subject. As for why you're in Class 2, it's because your beast taming talents aren't as good as those in Class 1. Class 2 is the so-called slow class, but I hope everyone will work hard. And don't make me lose face. If I lose face, you might lose your lives. Li Tang curled his lips. I've been fast my whole life, and now I'm actually in the slow class. Does anyone else have any questions? Teacher Zhou, can a beast tamer only have one talent? Li Tang raised his hand and asked. Hearing this question, Zhou Shumi raised her eyebrows slightly, clearly not expecting it. After thinking for a moment, she said, the only exception I know of was originally a pair of twins, but one died in the womb. When the surviving one awakened, he had 2 talents. He is very powerful. I transmigrated here, which is equivalent to 2 people merging into one, so I have 2 talents, Li Tang thought to himself. Teacher Zhou, how long will it take before we can contract a spirit beast? I'm so curious what my first spirit beast will be. Yang Fan, who was sitting behind Li Tang, quickly asked as well. It varies from fast to slow, but on average, it takes about 1.5 years, around the 2nd semester of your 2nd year of high school, to reach Tier 1. A teasing smile appeared on Zhou Shumi's face, and she continued, but let me reveal a bit of news to you. By school tradition, every class is prepared with 5 spirit beast eggs. And this year should be about the same. This is first come, first served. A single spirit beast egg is worth over 1 million. The school is really generous. I'm a peerless genius. Only a spirit beast egg is worthy of me. Yang Fan looked determined to win. The students below the podium imagined a bright future and began chattering excitedly. Next, let me tell you about the benefits. The school charges no tuition, provides food and lodging, and gives 2 days off each month. Those who have not yet reached Tier 1 will each receive 1 low-tier source stone per month for cultivation. It's not much, and it's actually far from enough for cultivation. If you want more source stones, the method is very simple. Now I'm going to choose one class monitor and one vice monitor to assist with class management. These two can each receive one extra source stone per month. So how will the class monitor and vice monitor be selected? Very simple. Right now, everyone run to the training ground in the beast taming area immediately and keep running around it. Anyone who falls 2 laps behind or can't keep running will be eliminated. The one who finishes first in the end will be the class monitor, and second place will be the vice monitor. It's that simple. Everyone start running. As Zhou Shumi's words fell, the whole class stood up and filed out of the classroom in an orderly manner, heading for the beast taming area's track and field ground. One is worth 10,000 yuan. One is worth 10,000 yuan. One is worth 10,000 yuan. Yang Fan kept muttering behind him, and Li Tang turned around and asked, "Are source stones really that expensive?" "Yeah, but the problem is that ordinary people simply can't buy them. Being a class monitor is basically the same as earning 10,000 yuan a month. Old Li only makes 10,000 a month, right? Already earning such a high salary at such a young age?" Li Tang thought to himself, "I'm definitely getting this class monitor position. Give it everything you've got today." The track in number 1 high school's beast taming area was quite a bit larger than a normal track, with each lap being about 800 meters. At the front of the field, Zhou Shumi had somehow gotten herself a chair, sat down comfortably, even put up a sunshade umbrella, and watched the 43 students running nonstop ahead of her. The running group had clearly split into 3 batches, 5 frontrunners in the lead, the main pack in the middle, and 7 or 8 people already trailing some distance behind. Li Tang and Yang Fan were running with the main pack. Although the Li Tang of this world had only average grades, he had spent years chasing cats and teasing dogs and loved sports, so he was actually in pretty good shape and ran with ease. And the tall, strongly built Yang Fan was naturally even more athletic. Yang Fan had originally wanted to charge into the first group and take the lead, but Li Tang pulled him into the second group. This is a test of endurance. As long as we don't fall behind, it's fine. Conserve your energy, don't rush. 30 minutes later, someone in the third group could no longer hold on. A girl and a chubby boy broke away from the group and collapsed directly onto the grass beside the track. Chen Yu eliminated. Man Chong eliminated. Zhou Shumi's voice rang in everyone's ears. Once the first people were eliminated, more and more people in the group began to waver inside. There are only 2 positions total, class monitor and vice monitor. What's there for me to compete for? I might as well give up. An hour later, fewer than 10 people were still holding on. There were still 3 people in the first group up front, 6 people in the second group, and 1 person in the back still stubbornly following along. These 10 people had already run 7 or 8 kilometers, and their pace was gradually slowing. In the second group, the girl in front of Li Tang had her white short-sleeved shirt soaked through with sweat, with her black bra faintly visible, but her steps did not stop in the slightest. Li Tang had no mind to look at that either, because the soreness in his body was making him miserable, and even breathing made his lungs sting. Yang Fan beside him had also begun panting heavily, with large drops of sweat constantly falling. "I've been first my whole life. I can't give up." Li Tang kept encouraging himself. He knew that in this run, the first to be eliminated were those with poor physical fitness, and after that it was a contest of willpower. Once the thought of giving up appeared, he would have already lost. 10 minutes later, the girl in front of Li Tang suddenly stumbled and fell to the ground. The others quickly ran around her and continued forward. Li Tang stopped, gasped heavily as he helped her to the grass at the side. Both her knees and palms were scraped open, and blood ran down her calves. With a wail, the girl sat on the grass and burst into tears. Li Tang had no strength to say anything. He walked back onto the track, lowered his head, and continued running. 3 minutes later, the last place runner was lapped by 2 full laps and eliminated. There were 8 people left on the field, running silently, their heavy breathing and sweat dripping constantly from their soaked clothes. They were not professional athletes, just ordinary students. At this point, their bodies had already reached their limit. The only thing keeping them going was their unwillingness to admit defeat. "I've always been first place. I will definitely win. I transmigrated here. I have a cheat ability. I have to win. Even if I run myself to death today, I still have to be class monitor." Li Tang, who had originally been in last place, kept encouraging himself. Gradually, he felt strength return to his lead-filled legs, as if gravity no longer existed. His speed gradually picked up, and little by little he passed the people ahead of him. 7th place, 6th place, 3rd place, 2nd place, he passed Yang Fan. Qin Rue, who had originally been in the lead, saw Li Tang catching up to him, his eyes full of unwillingness, but his legs had no strength left to accelerate. and could only watch helplessly as Li Tang passed him step by step. So infuriating. He had led the entire race, only to be sniped at the last second. First place. But at this moment, there was no longer victory or defeat in Li Tang's mind, only the thought of continuing to run. Half an hour later, everyone on the field had stopped, and only Li Tang was still running. What the hell is wrong with that brat Li Tang? How can he run so much? Yang Fan, panting heavily, knelt on the ground, his stomach feeling a little nauseous. Looking at Li Tang, he also felt somewhat annoyed, just a tiny bit more. That kid must have gotten into the zone from running. Vice Principal Lu had somehow sat down in Zhou Shumi's seat, while Zhou Shumi stood silently beside him, holding an umbrella for him. Getting into the zone while running is his luck, and luck is also a manifestation of strength, Zhou Shumi replied. Getting into the zone while running can also be understood as the simplest state of flow, which is also a manifestation of mental power. Vice Principal Lu still wore a smiling expression. He glanced at Li Tang again and said, "He can't hold on much longer either. He's about to faint again." Before he could finish speaking, Li Tang collapsed straight to the ground. Zhou Shumi put down the umbrella in her hand and ran over at great speed. With one hand, she picked Li Tang up and tossed him onto the grass by the field. Everyone assemble. Although they were all exhausted, intimidated by Zhou Shumi's overwhelming authority, whether walking or crawling, they all made their way to stand before her. Most of you did pretty well and showed me your perseverance. Everyone worked hard in today's first class, so next I'll give you a little perk. Then she turned around and said to Vice Principal Lu, "Elder Lu, thank you for your hard work." Vice Principal Lu looked helpless as he walked over. With a raise of his hand, a huge butterfly with a diameter of 1 meter appeared before everyone, its emerald green wings shining with a gem-like luster. And it elegantly flew above everyone's heads before beginning to dance gracefully in the air. The beautiful butterfly instantly drew everyone's gaze. So beautiful. My spirit beast has to be this good-looking in the future. This is an emerald swallowtail, with a talent level of at least tier 5, a very rare healing-type spirit beast. One well-informed student began introducing it. The students buzzed with discussion, and while they were talking, Emerald Swallowtail, use accelerated healing, Elder Lu said softly. As the emerald swallowtail flapped its wings, waves of green light radiated from the butterfly's body, and the injured student's wounds visibly healed at an accelerated rate. Yun Ziwan, who had fallen earlier, looked in astonishment at her completely healed palms and knees, with only traces of blood remaining. Emerald Swallowtail, use recovery. The butterfly circled and danced above everyone's heads, and sparkling green powder drifted out and fell onto the students. The students discovered that the soreness and weakness in their legs was gradually easing, and little by little their bodies were filled with strength again. Li Tang also gradually regained consciousness and sat up, looking at the emerald swallowtail in the sky and feeling his strength recover. This was the first time he had truly seen a spirit beast. The beautiful emerald phoenix butterfly is like a beautiful dream, making people reluctant to part with it. Is this a spirit beast? So amazing. In the future, I'll have many powerful spirit beasts, and I'll be the Beastmaster King of this world. Emerald Phoenix Butterfly, come back. As Elder Lu murmured softly, the Emerald Phoenix Butterfly turned into a ray of light and returned to Elder Lu's body. Study well in class. I'm heading back to the hospital. With that, Elder Lu turned and left. Everyone, thank Principal Lu. Zhou Shumi said loudly. Thank you, Principal Lu. All right, based on the running results just now, the class monitor is Li Tang, and the vice monitor is Qin Rue. Zhou Shumi pointed at Li Tang and Qin Rue, then continued. Li Tang, arrange for a few boys to go to the library and move this semester's books to the classroom, then distribute them to everyone's seats. At 1:30 in the afternoon, Li Tang, organize everyone to go to the combat classroom, and I'll give everyone a combat lesson. For now, dismissed. Hurry and go eat, shower, and rest. When heaven is about to place a great responsibility on a person, it must first strain his sinews and bones. Strain his sinews and bones. Li Tang led 10 boys to collect the books and finish distributing them. After a whole morning of running, although they had the Emerald Phoenix Butterfly's recovery, they were already starving. He quickly called Yang Fan and headed straight for the cafeteria. This morning I was so close. My leg cramped up at the end. Otherwise the two of us would have been class monitor and vice monitor. A perfect pair, an unmatched duo. On the way, Yang Fan started explaining himself. Li Tang had been too caught up in running at the time and hadn't noticed his situation, but he comforted him. It's fine, Xiao Yang. With me, the great class monitor, helping you. How could you not win back a vice monitor position? Brother Tang, that makes sense. As expected of my brother Tang, far-sighted and brilliant, with every plan perfectly calculated. In the cafeteria, everyone got the same standard meal of 3 dishes and 1 soup. The food was very delicate, especially the braised pork, crystal clear and fragrant, making one's mouth water. This food must be delicious, but the portion looks a bit small. The lunch lady even said with a grin that I should eat first, saying there'd definitely be enough. I'm definitely getting 3 more servings of rice. Yang Fan was tall and burly, and he also had a big appetite. From a distance, Li Tang saw Wu Chang sitting alone in the corner eating, so he pulled Yang Fan over and sat down. Who's this? Isn't this our young Master Wu? Why are you eating alone? Huh. Yang Fan started teasing him as soon as they met, but before he could finish, he saw a purplish bruise around Wu Chang's left eye, and asked in surprise, Wu Chang, who hit your eye? How'd you get a black eye like a panda? Whoever bullied you, the 2 of us will help you get payback. Since Li Tang and Wu Chang had gone to the same junior high and got along pretty well, he chimed in too. Don't even mention it. During the class monitor selection this morning, our homeroom teacher directly made the boys and girls split up and have a group fight. She said whoever was still standing at the end would be the male and female class monitors respectively. A whole bunch of people were fighting back and forth, and I couldn't dodge in time, so that big bear landed a punch right on my eye. Wu Chang said somewhat irritably. Li Tang thought to himself that the 2 homeroom teachers were both tough customers, and that Zhao Weiguo's brutality was no less than Zhou Shumi's. So you're just a weakling. You even lost a fight. If our class had settled it with a fight, the 2 of us definitely would have been class monitor and vice monitor. With his mouth full of braised pork and rice, Yang Fan spoke while chewing. If you're going to hit someone, don't hit the face. Who is that big bear? Why do you have to punch you in the eye? Li Tang asked while eating too. Xiong Chu, the male class monitor of our class. His talent is probably some kind of passive physical enhancement type. He can really take a beating, and he's super strong, very impressive. Who's the class monitor in your class? He's sitting right in front of you. The great class monitor Li of class 2, and you didn't even know. Yang Fan introduced him exaggeratedly. Just luck, just luck, Li Tang said modestly, though his hand gesture told Yang Fan to keep going. This morning our brother Tang left everyone in the dust and ran the whole class into vomiting. They all had no choice but to concede defeat. Humph, the best of a bad bunch. As expected of the slow class, Wu Chang is acting like a keyboard warrior again. With a single sentence, he made Li Tang and Yang Fan put down their chopsticks. Little Changzi, your eyes aren't quite symmetrical. Let me help you with that. As he spoke, Yang Fan tacitly grabbed Wu Chang, locking down his hands and upper body, while Li Tang beside him feigned a punch. I was wrong. Heroes, please show mercy. Make sure you don't waste this food. The ingredients should be fierce beast meat, and the vegetables are probably spiritual plants too, rich in energy and able to slowly nourish our bodies. Seeing that things were going south, Wu Chang quickly changed the subject. Li Tang stopped what he was doing, finished the last of the food, and downed the vegetable and meatball soup in one gulp, immediately feeling a warm current flow from his abdomen to his limbs. As for Yang Fan, who had been saying there definitely wouldn't be enough to eat, he actually let out a burp. 1:30 p.m., the combat classroom. Though it was called a combat classroom, it was over 500 square meters, with various training equipment placed around the edges. The 43 students of Class 2 changed into training uniforms in the changing room next door and lined up in formation by height. At the front, Zhou Shumi had also changed out of her leather jacket and pants and into a black training uniform, making her look strikingly heroic. Some people think a Beastmaster only needs to let their spirit beast do the fighting. That is completely wrong. If a Beastmaster is weak, then as long as the opponent isn't an idiot, they'll definitely go straight for the Beastmaster. That's why a Beastmaster must have sufficient combat ability themselves. Although as a Beastmaster's level rises, their body will gradually grow stronger as well. Without sufficient combat skills, that's just brute strength. Class monitor, step out. Here. Li Tang stepped out of the formation. Attack me however you like. After speaking, Zhou Shumi made no particular move and simply stood there quietly. Li Tang knew Zhou Shumi was powerful and definitely had abundant combat experience, and he thought to himself, I need to hold back a little and throw in some feints too, so it won't be too embarrassing. Without hesitating, he immediately sprinted forward at full speed, feigning a punch at Zhou Shumi's face, waiting only for Zhou Shumi to react, so he could pull back, duck down, switch moves, and sweep her legs. Who would have thought that before he could even see Zhou Shumi's movement clearly, his fist had already been caught in her palm? and with a casual tug, Li Tang stumbled forward 3 or 4 meters before crashing face first onto the ground. Again, Zhou Shumi even crooked a finger at Li Tang. How could Li Tang back down? He climbed back up and charged at Zhou Shumi again, raising his leg for a side kick. But Zhou Shumi's foot moved later but arrived first, tapping Li Tang directly on the forehead. This is speed. She withdrew her foot, walked to the side, picked up a thickened shield pad, and tossed it to Li Tang. Hold it tight. Li Tang didn't dare be careless and held the pad in front of his chest with both hands. Then Zhou Shumi took a quick step and followed with a punch. Li Tang was sent flying at once. After flying 4 or 5 meters at low altitude, with a bang, Li Tang crashed into the sandbag behind him, and the sandbag swung up into the air like a pendulum. Li Tang came to a stop on the ground and didn't even feel pain yet, not noticing that the sandbag behind him had swung back down from its highest point and landed right on top of him, sending him sprawling face first again. She absolutely did that on purpose. I'm the class monitor, not a punching bag. This is strength. And I was still holding back. Otherwise, that punch would have crippled him. Zhou Shumi then introduced it to everyone. In the later combat classes, there will be many fighting techniques, and in senior year we'll even teach you combat arts. But the foundation of combat never changes. Strength and agility are the 2 core elements. Specifically, they are physical strength, endurance, speed, and flexibility. In today's class, what I'll mainly be teaching everyone is stance training. As Zhou Shumi spoke, she demonstrated at the same time, legs shoulder-width apart, lowering into a half squat, waist and back straight, elbows bent and arms raised, forming a rounded hold in front. This is the basic Hunyuan stance. The first step of stance training is to strengthen our lower body and physical endurance so that we can stand more steadily in battle. The second step is to develop Jingu strength. Jingu strength is a kind of physical power in our bodies, the force of the body's fascia driving the bones. Any fighting technique or combat method can be understood as ways to bring out 100% of the body's power, or even 200%. And Jingu strength is the foundation of it all. Alright, everyone, spread out 1 meter apart to the left, right, front, and back, and take your stance. All 43 students lined up and began imitating Zhou Shumi's stance posture. Class monitor, stand at the front and demonstrate for everyone. Li Tang silently walked to the front and stood facing the students. Feet shoulder-width apart, toes pointing forward. Following Zhou Shumi's instructions, Li Tang also began the movements. The feeling of squatting down should be like sitting on a high stool. Right, now tuck the hips, rotate the hip bones forward. Spread your fingers, palms facing inward, as if your hands are holding a balloon. Keep the armpits open, tuck in the chin, and imagine there's a book balanced on top of your head. Half close your eyes and visualize the Beastmaster space in your mind. Class monitor, this posture is basically correct. Then Zhou Shumi walked down and began correcting the students' stance postures. While holding the stance, Li Tang felt a force extending from the soles of his feet through his body. The Beastmaster space he was visualizing seemed to be gradually expanding. Zhou Shumi also noticed Li Tang's situation at the front. Everyone has their own secrets. Li Tang maintained the stance posture, and faint energy was dispersing from his body. Zhou Shumi knew this was a sign of leveling up, and Li Tang was immersed in the Beastmaster space. As if invisible energy were entering the Beastmaster space, and the entire space was gradually expanding outward. From 1 cubic meter, it gradually increased to 2 cubic meters. When the growth of the space stopped, Li Tang opened his eyes. He could feel that his body's strength had increased somewhat. Don't worry, you leveled up. You should be tier 0, level 2 now. Zhou Shumi also found it strange. Normally, those who awaken start at level 1. Only a few with growth-type awakened talents level up more quickly. But Zhou Shumi knew that Li Tang's awakened talent was in sight. There's something off about this kid. This morning, the second talent he asked about. Did he awaken a second talent, or was he born with energy affinity? No one was a fool, and Zhou Shumi quickly came to a conclusion. But Beastmasters are combat professionals to begin with. Who doesn't keep a trump card in reserve? Who doesn't hide a secret? Your class monitor is already level 2. He already has a big lead on all of you, and has a great chance of obtaining a spirit beast egg and getting his first powerful spirit beast. You all need to catch up. Zhou Shumi casually painted a rosy picture and used it to motivate the other students in the class. Seeing Li Tang level up directly, the others in the class were envious, and they also felt that this stance training was very useful, so they all began practicing with great focus. And Li Tang looked at his Beastmaster space, and couldn't help thinking, leveling up on the second day after awakening. I really am a genius. Li Tang then threw himself back into stance practice. An hour later, Li Tang stood where he was, his whole body trembling nonstop, with sweat pooling on the ground beside him. I can't do this anymore. I didn't expect stance training to be this exhausting. Many students in the class could no longer hold the stance, and several of them collapsed straight onto the ground. Seeing that most of the students in the class had basically reached their limit, Zhou Shumi did not force them. Come, gather up. After you go back, you must keep practicing stance standing. If you practice boxing without practicing the fundamentals, it will all be for nothing by the time you're old. This fundamental skill is stance standing. During the remaining time, Zhou Shumi also briefly demonstrated stretching, punching, and kicking, and finally demonstrated a set of Huagua long fist, saying it would be the content of the next class. After the 3-hour class ended, Zhou Shumi, as the homeroom teacher, made arrangements for everyone. Although the Beast Taming College entrance exam is different from the regular college entrance exam, everyone still has to study the regular cultural subjects. Class monitor, hand out the class schedule later. A reminder, this semester's history of Huagua beast taming, basic spirit beast studies, beast taming geography and wilderness survival, basic post-injury care and common illness treatment will all be tested in the Beast Taming College entrance exam, so everyone should just memorize them all. Just memorize them all. These books have at least hundreds of thousands of words, and she says it so easily. Li Tang rolled his eyes, but Zhou Shumi saw it and glared at him. Starting today, every evening from 6 to 10 is meditation class. Practice cultivation techniques and raise your level. This is the top priority. If you just want to slack off, suit yourself. After the meditation class ends, return separately to the male and female dormitories. They're all double rooms, and each door has names on it. All daily necessities and clothing have been prepared for you. Don't even think about staying up late. Tomorrow morning at 6:30, assemble for a 5-kilometer run. From now on, 1 day running, 1 day standing. After saying that, Zhou Shumi beckoned to Li Tang, took out a stack of class schedules from her pocket, and handed them over. Li Tang took them and distributed them one by one to his classmates. Li Tang glanced at it. From Monday to Sunday, from 6:30 in the morning to 10 at night, the schedule was packed full. This high school life is much fuller than an ordinary senior year. Dismissed now. I suggest you go take a quick shower in the bathroom nearby and hurry to eat. Then go preview the cultivation techniques to prepare for tonight's meditation practice. The meditation classroom was in a 2-story building halfway up the mountain. Li Tang led Class 2 into the first-floor lobby, where the people from Class 1 were already there. Among the two classes, some people had known each other before and greeted one another, and the formation immediately broke apart. At the front of Class 1's group, Wu Chang pointed Li Tang out to a sturdy boy half a head taller than even Yang Fan, then said something. Humph, selling out a friend for personal gain. The boy looked at Li Tang. Seeing that Li Tang was also looking at him, he gave Li Tang a provocative look. Li Tang ignored him, turned around, and shouted loudly to the students in his class. What's going on? Why are you all running around like bears that have seen honey? Stand properly now, or I'll tell Teacher Zhou. Intimidated by Li Tang's borrowed authority, the students of Class 2 all shut their mouths and returned to formation. Hearing Li Tang's words, the tall guy's face instantly flushed red, and the look in his eyes toward Li Tang turned fierce, as if he might explode at any moment. He really is a big bear. Li Tang curled his lips in thought. At that moment, a refined middle-aged man in his 40s walked in, wearing a kind smile that made people feel like they were basking in a spring breeze. You all came quite early, very enthusiastic about cultivation, I see. I am your meditation teacher. My name is Sun Mingyuan. Hello, Teacher Sun. The students shouted in unison. Freshmen really are enthusiastic. Our classroom is on the 2nd floor. The class monitors of the two classes lead everyone in and get seated. Class 1 on the left, Class 2 on the right. The meditation classroom was completely different from other bright and spotless classrooms, with no windows, and the door was 30 centimeters thick and very heavy. When Sun Mingyuan opened the door, Li Tang saw that he had to use some strength with his hand. The classroom lighting was very soft. There were no desks or chairs, only meditation cushions. After the students from both classes had sat down, Sun Mingyuan entered the classroom last and locked the door. Why are we able to cultivate? Sun Mingyuan opened with a question. It's because the rifts brought source qi. Yun Ziyuan from Class 2 softly blurted out the answer. Hearing her voice, Li Tang turned his head and glanced at her. Her oval face had delicate features, very clean and very pretty. Sun Mingyuan nodded and said, That's right. So cultivation isn't as complicated as everyone thinks. It's simply about absorbing source energy into the body to strengthen our beast-taming space, and the beast-taming space in turn feeds back into our physical body. As for cultivation methods, they teach everyone how to absorb source energy into the body more efficiently, and how to use the source power fed back by the beast-taming space to improve physical fitness more effectively. Everyone has previewed this guide to promotion for Chinese beast tamers, right? Sun Mingyuan waved the book in his hand. Seeing the students all nod, he continued, although this book's name isn't very good. It was compiled by senior 9th-rank grandmasters based on a variety of cultivation methods. Its characteristics are that it is balanced and moderate, fairly well-rounded in all aspects, and carries low cultivation risk. Has everyone noticed what is different about this classroom? Sun Mingyuan asked again with a smile. The air here seems fresher. A boy from class 1 replied. There should be more abundant source energy here. Li Tang thought for a moment and said, correct, this is a low-grade source energy room, built by the school at great expense. The source energy here is more than 10 times richer than in an ordinary environment. Does everyone recognize this little thing? Sun Mingyuan pinched a small transparent cube, inside which liquid seemed to be flowing. This is a source stone. Xiong Chu from class 1 answered first in a rough voice. That's right. Source energy in normal cities is relatively thin, so cultivation is slower. Cultivating in a source energy room will naturally be much faster. But if you cultivate in the dormitory or at home, then you can use source stones for cultivation. Next, the class monitor and vice monitor come forward and distribute the source stones to everyone. Li Tang and Qin Rue from class 2 stepped forward, while class 1 had Xiong Chu, as well as a tall beauty with an S-shaped figure. Your class monitor and vice monitor get 2 each. Also, Li Tang, you get 3. After teacher Sun finished speaking, everyone in both classes fixed their eyes on Li Tang, who was counting the source stones. Sow 1 grain in spring, reap 10,000 seeds in autumn. This is a reward for leveling up. For every level gained at rank 0, 1 source stone is awarded. Sun Mingyuan explained. Hearing this, the people in class 2 understood what was going on, but the people in class 1 were still dumbfounded. Li Tang already reached level 2 this afternoon? Sun Mingyuan continued explaining. That's not scientific. The meditation class hasn't even started yet, and you're telling me someone already leveled up? Could Li Tang be a naturally awakened one? Definitely not. He awakened with us yesterday. Did you forget? It should be because of talent. The people in class 1 began chattering among themselves. Sun Mingyuan pressed his hand down, put away his smile, and said seriously, beast tamers seek to improve themselves. If others level up faster, that's their own ability. Why do we say talents should be kept secret? In fact, many talents are easy for others to guess. But there are also some talents that have certain specific condition requirements. In future battles, if your talent, spirit beast, and skill information are completely known by the enemy, you will be in a very passive position. Of course, you can display your talent to obtain more resources. But of course, you must also allow others to hide their strengths and keep some trump cards in reserve. Hearing this, the students of both classes quieted down. Sun Mingyuan did not say more. Restoring his warm smile, he continued the lesson. Just now we mentioned that source stones can speed up cultivation. Source stones are source stone or formed by condensed source energy, which we obtain through mining, and they are quite precious. Although what everyone has in hand is only a small piece of low-grade source stone. But as long as you absorb it completely, you'll probably reach level 2. Beast taming talent is everyone's apparent potential. Besides that, energy affinity, comprehension of cultivation and combat methods, and coordination in commanding spirit beasts are all forms of potential. Alright, while cultivating in the source chi room, everyone doesn't need to use source stones. The energy in the source chi room is enough. Today's cultivation officially begins. Everyone, sit cross-legged properly and close your eyes. Immerse your consciousness into the beast-taming space. Take a deep breath. Calm your mind. Focus. Use your consciousness to sense the source chi energy around your body. It should be tiny light red, transparent particles. Students who can sense it, use your consciousness to make contact with it and pull it into your body. Don't rush, take it slowly. Sun Mingyuan paused his words and began observing the 85 freshmen present. A glint flashed in his eyes as he activated his beast-taming talent, Eye of Energy. Most of the students in Class 1 had already drawn the source chi energy into their bodies. When his eyes turned to Class 2, he froze for a moment. He saw dense energy around Li Tang, and several source chi energy particles slipped right into his body. Everyone else was absorbing them one by one. but you're absorbing 8 or 9 at once. Without even really cultivating yet, you've already reached level 2. Could this kid be some big shot who transmigrated back to age 16? Snapping back to his senses, seeing that the students had all absorbed 1 energy particle, Sun Mingyuan continued, "Students, this is the key part next. Sense the energy you have absorbed into your body. Don't let it remain in your flesh. Use your consciousness to transport it into your beast-taming space. Transport a total of 10 source chi energy particles. Don't rush, take it slowly. Then, in your beast-taming space, use your consciousness to compress the 10 energy particles into a single drop. Use this drop of energy as a seed and bury it in the ground of your beast-taming space. Continue absorbing the surrounding energy and move it into your beast-taming space for the seed to absorb. Imagine this seed has sprouted. It has grown roots and a stem, and a tender shoot has emerged. Let it gradually grow bigger. The above is the introductory content of our Huagua Beast Tamer Advancement Guide. And today, everyone will mainly be cultivating this part. Keep cultivating. Strive to make your seeds sprout. After saying this, Sun Mingyuan sat cross-legged at the front, holding a source stone of even higher purity in his hand as he began cultivating as well. Meanwhile, inside Li Tang's beast-taming space, the seed had already sprouted and was constantly absorbing the energy particles in the space. Then it grew another leaf. At this moment, Li Tang sensed that the standby slot of his second talent also seemed able to plant a seed. No sooner thought than done. In the tiny beast-taming space, he dug and dug and dug, planting tiny seeds, growing tiny sprouts. The first standby slot, the second, the fifth, the 10th. After planting seeds in all of them, Li Tang felt that his speed of absorbing source chi energy had become even faster. Hundreds of energy particles surged into the beast-taming space and were absorbed by the 11 seeds. The seeds in the standby slots were also gradually growing and sprouting, putting out a second leaf. Why are there no more energy particles? Students in the classroom began talking. Sun Mingyuan sensed the disturbance in the classroom, took a deep breath, and stopped cultivating. The moment he opened his eyes, he saw what seemed like a vortex around Li Tang, with hundreds of source stone energy particles nearby, whooshing into his body in an instant. 1 minute later, another several hundred energy particles entered again. The energy particles around him were directly depleted completely. What's going on? This absorption speed is comparable to that of a third-tier beast tamer. There isn't enough energy in the classroom. Sun Mingyuan stood up, walked to the wall at the front of the classroom, and pressed hard on a section of the wall, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside the hidden compartment were 10 small slots, each containing a low-grade source stone. Sun Mingyuan took a low-grade source stone from one slot, then took out a brand-new medium-grade source stone from his pocket, and, somewhat pained, placed it into one of the slots before pushing the hidden compartment shut. The classroom lighting seemed to dim red for a moment, and soon after, the energy in the classroom was quickly replenished. 9:40 p.m. Sun Mingyuan woke up the whole class and said, "Today I'll teach everyone the introductory chapter of the cultivation method. The seed inside your body is called the Beastmaster tree. This is the core of our cultivation method. We use energy particles to nourish it, and dew will condense on its leaves. This dew is source power. Source power has many uses, including nourishing the beast space and helping us level up. It can strengthen our bodies and make us stronger. It also helps to some extent with recovering stamina and healing injuries. It allows us to use Beastmaster talent skills. This refers to active skills. After you contract a spirit beast, it can also help the spirit beast level up. Source power is the core power of us Beastmasters." Thinking of this, Sun Mingyuan paused, glanced at Li Tang again, and then said, "At Tier 0, source power is mainly used to upgrade the beast space. Once you reach Tier 1, the Beastmaster tree will basically be fully grown, and there will be more source power, with more uses as well. There are still a few minutes left. Does anyone have any questions?" "Teacher Sun, my seed didn't sprout in this class. After I go back, can I continue cultivating?" A tall, thin boy from Class 1 asked. "It's normal for it not to sprout after one class. Normally, sprouting within 3 days is fine. The source stones distributed to everyone are for you to cultivate on your own after you go back. When meditating, just hold it in your palm. Let me emphasize one point here. Meditation consumes mental energy. When you feel sleepy, just go to sleep. Don't force yourself to cultivate. Trying to make something grow by pulling on it will do more harm than good. Money is a bastard. If it's gone, just earn more." 10:30 p.m. Dorm room 603 in the Beastmaster's own dormitory of number 1 high school. The dorm conditions were very good. Although it was a double room, it was actually a 2-bedroom, 1 living room suite with a private bathroom. Li Tang looked speechlessly at Yang Fan, who was eating a late-night snack on the sofa. This guy had held it in all day and couldn't take it anymore. As soon as he got back, he quietly told Li Tang that his talent was enhanced digestion. Specifically, the speed at which he and his spirit beast digest and absorb food energy increases by 10%. Tao Dai? That's amazing. Li Tang had already played along, but after thinking carefully, he realized something was off. This was clearly an F-rank talent. First of all, Beastmasters cultivate through meditation. So what's the use of just eating? You can't eat source stones into your stomach. And it's only a 10% increase in digestion and absorption speed, just a little faster than ordinary people, getting hungry a bit quicker and getting a bit more nourishment from food for the body. What else does it do? Yet he still looked proud and said that as long as he ate more, his strength would increase faster. Then he ran off to the cafeteria to buy another late-night snack to eat. The school provides 3 meals a day for free, but if you want extra meals, you still have to pay. While Yang Fan was off buying food, Li Tang called home to let them know he was safe. Looking at Yang Fan stuffing himself, speechless as he was, Li Tang thought for a moment and asked, Yang Fan, did your seed sprout? No, I just planted it, and there hasn't been any reaction at all. Then do you feel mentally fatigued? Can you still cultivate tonight? I was pretty sleepy before, but after eating the late-night snack, I feel energized. Yang Fan mumbled as he stuffed the last bite of meat into his mouth. Could Yang Fan's talent also boost mental recovery? If so, then it would be kind of impressive. That would make it at least an E-rank talent, right? Li Tang thought for a moment and said, then let's work ourselves to death and outdo them. We'll cultivate tonight until we fall asleep. Right. We'll take all the spirit beast eggs for ourselves, brothers. Li Tang's dorm room wasn't big. 1 bed, a small wardrobe with 4 changes of clothes, 1 set of pajamas, 1 set of combat clothes, and 2 pairs of shoes. A desk, equipped with a computer and some paper and pens. Li Tang didn't turn on the computer. He sat cross-legged directly on the bed and began to sense the beast space. 11 Beastmaster trees. They swayed gently in the beast-taming space. Especially the row of 10 beast-taming trees in the reserved seats, like little green vegetables just sprouting in a field, neatly poking out emerald green tender shoots and giving off the breath of life. After watching for a few minutes, Li Tang discovered some things about his beast-taming space. Even when he was not cultivating, source energy particles would still merge into the beast-taming trees. This meant he would passively cultivate and improve 24 hours a day, but the speed was very slow. When internally observing the beast-taming space, the speed would increase somewhat. When actively cultivating, it would be even faster. When I awaken my second talent, there should be energy feedback. By then, I probably won't be far from level 2. Because I can cultivate automatically, when I was doing stance training in the morning while internally observing the beast-taming space, I leveled up directly. Afterward, Li Tang held a source stone in his palm and began cultivating his technique. The source stone turned into source energy and entered Li Tang's body through his palm, then was guided by him into the beast-taming space. The source energy that entered the beast-taming space then split into 11 portions, nourishing the 11 beast-taming trees. The second leaf on these tender shoots was gradually growing larger. Inhale, move, feed, inhale, move, feed. 2 hours later, at 1 in the morning. With a bang, Li Tang was so sleepy that he collapsed straight onto the bed and fell asleep. What beast tamer isn't desperate enough to work this hard? In the freshman dormitory of the beast taming division, many students were just like Li Tang, training until they fell asleep directly. In the 201st year of the new Huaxia calendar, September 10th, Tuesday, at 6:20 in the morning, Li Tang was awakened by the alarm clock and stretched lazily. Suddenly, he realized his hands were empty. Li Tang jolted awake at once, then jumped off the bed and lifted the blanket straight into the air. Nothing. Then he threw himself onto the floor and used his phone to shine under the bed. Nothing. With one leap, he looked around the room, and still nothing. He took out yesterday's clothes and only found 2 source stones from the pockets. Even Li Tang's handsome face was a little twisted. Where are my source stones? Where are my source stones? The door was locked from the inside. Then he closed his eyes and internally observed the beast-taming space, only to see that the second leaf of the beast-taming tree was almost as big as the first leaf. It absorbed it all in one night? 10,000 yuan in one night? I might as well not be a beast tamer at all. This is way too expensive. At this moment, That man's voice rang out in Li Tang's mind. What is money? Money is a bastard. Right? Money is a bastard. If it's gone, just go earn more. Li Tang hurried downstairs for a run. Li Tang opened the door, and he and Yang Fan hurried downstairs, sprinting all the way. As class monitor, he gets 1 source stone a month. He absolutely couldn't let Zhou Shumi catch him slipping. At 6:30, they arrived at the field on time. All the classmates were there, start running. Without stopping his steps, Li Tang gave the order, and the whole class started running. He couldn't give Zhou Shumi time to react. While running, Li Tang asked Yang Fan beside him, Yang Fan, how much of your source stone was absorbed last night? Yang Fan took it out of his pocket. His source stone didn't seem to have changed much, just a tiny bit shaved off around the edges. Putting on his mask of pain, Li Tang sprinted across the field. My second talent absorbs more energy. So in the future my source power will definitely be greater, and my leveling speed and compatibility should both have an advantage. The downside is that it's too expensive. With the school keeping us in class from morning to night, I don't have any chance to make money. At 7:15, the whole class finished the 5-kilometer run. Li Tang dismissed the group, went back to the dorm to take a quick shower, then went to the cafeteria to get 3 meat buns and brought 4 for Yang Fan, eating as he walked. The morning classes were all regular academic subjects: Chinese, mathematics, biology, and chemistry. Li Tang opened the Chinese textbook and flipped through it once from beginning to end, followed by math, then biology and chemistry. Several textbooks are largely similar to high school content from my previous life. Math is quite a bit easier, while biology and chemistry are only slightly different. What was Li Tang in his previous life? A top student who had dominated first place in the grade for years. His scores were high enough for Beijing. He got into the University of Science and Technology through early admission. He even transmigrated straight from the college entrance examination hall, so he has never been afraid when it comes to academic subjects. So Li Tang directly began introspection at his seat. From last night's experiment, he found that when he used introspection, he could absorb source energy, and quite quickly too. He hadn't been cultivating, partly because he was worried that after cultivating, his mental power wouldn't be enough and would affect his cultivation at night. On the other hand, he wanted to give the teacher some face, since class was in session. In the classroom, the Chinese teacher glanced at him and simply continued teaching silently. But when it came to the second period math class, the teacher didn't indulge him. He looked at the seating chart. Li Tang, how do you solve this problem? Draw an auxiliary line linking point C to AD, and then through. You can obtain, and finally derive that the answer is 3 plus root 3. Li Tang stood up, looked at the problem for 5 seconds, and then spoke fluently. Sit down. Why do you keep your eyes closed during class? Teacher, listening to class only requires listening, so why use your eyes to look? After a whole morning of introspection, Li Tang made some calculations. Under the low energy density in the classroom, when he was not using introspection, each tree in the beast taming space would automatically absorb 1 source energy particle about every 5 minutes. When using introspection, each tree absorbed 1 particle per minute. When cultivating, each tree absorbed 5 energy particles per minute. In summary, 5 hours of introspection equals 1 hour of cultivation. 10 hours of passive absorption without introspection equals 24 minutes of cultivation. Thinking of this, Li Tang began to form a plan. Shang, Dan, Jing, Mo, just take a careful look. Once on stage, life's road is still long. Li Tang had thought it through clearly. All his time in ordinary academic classes should be used for introspection. Ideally, he should cultivate for 10 minutes every hour. Over the course of one morning, that would amount to about half an hour of cultivation. But cultivation couldn't be stopped instantly at any time the way introspection could, so he had to make plans according to different teachers. The problem was that cultivating in the classroom in the morning, because the environmental energy density was insufficient, was relatively inefficient, not as good as cultivating in a source energy room or using source stones. So he needed to test how long he could cultivate during the day without affecting his cultivation at night and observe how his mental power recovered. As for exam results, for ordinary academic subjects, reading the textbooks through once from beginning to end should be enough. After all, he used to be a top student. As for the academic subjects in the beast taming major, glancing through the book for 5 minutes before class as usual, plus cramming before exams, should be enough to keep his grades fine. There are no real genius students, only people who grind harder than others. Take the path of grinding others down, leaving them with no path left to grind. As for whether to use introspection and cultivate during beast taming professional classes, The main issue right now is the teachers. After all, ordinary academic classes are taught by ordinary people. And even if you don't give them face, teachers generally put up with it. At most, if they can't stand it, they'll ask you a few questions, and once they see you've mastered it, they won't say more. Li Tang had plenty of experience with this. Before transmigrating, he liked studying physics during math class. But teachers of beast-taming professional courses were most likely beast tamers. Although school had only been in session for a few days, Li Tang had already noticed that. As long as the teacher was a beast tamer, they all tended to advocate militarized management and generally didn't indulge students much. Like Zhou Shumi, who would start hitting people at the slightest disagreement. He'd heard that Zhao Weigua from Class 1 also had no sense of restraint when he made a move. Now Li Tang still had another question, about how much energy does one low-grade source stone contain? And how had that low-grade source stone from yesterday been completely drained? Li Tang, how late did you cultivate yesterday? I saw you sleeping all through class. Yang Fan asked while gnawing on a chicken leg. I didn't check the time. I just kept practicing until I was so sleepy I couldn't take it anymore, then collapsed onto the bed and fell asleep. Li Tang shoveled another big mouthful of rice and ate vigorously. How did you solve that math problem after only looking at it once this morning? I still hadn't figured it out, and you'd already solved it. Can we still be friends? I feel like becoming a beastmaster gives my intelligence a boost. Don't you feel that? Li Tang immediately launched into a round of bluffing, and Yang Fan fell into deep thought. Then what should we do? We can't exactly say we're transmigrators, can we? Spotting an acquaintance from afar, Li Tang stood up and called out, Wu Chong, there are seats over here. Hearing the call, Wu Chong reluctantly carried his tray over and sat down beside them. I can't beat Xiong Chu, and I still have to survive in Class 1. Besides, I only said you were the monitor of Class 2 and that you went to the same middle school as us before. Take someone else's road and leave them with nowhere to go. Wu Chong took the initiative to explain directly, leaving Li Tang with nothing to say. I understand. Wu Chong, you went back and cultivated last night, right? How much of your source stone did you use up? About 1/15, I guess. I asked some upperclassmen before, and one low-grade source stone can generally last about half a month. After level 5, it probably lasts about 10 days. Huh. It lasts other people half a month, but mine was gone in one night? Li Tang once again put on a pained expression. I see. Then what do we do on the remaining days each month? The homeroom teacher and the Beastmaster professional course teachers all have the authority to give rewards, depending on everyone's performance. Families with means can also buy them from the school. I heard that big cities have Beastmaster homes, which specialize in selling Beastmaster-related goods. And I heard they even have pet eggs. Our little city is still way too inconvenient. While the two were talking, Yang Fan went to get another serving of rice and added some dishes. Under Wu Chong's astonished gaze, Yang Fan forcibly stuffed the food down, then slumped in his chair, rubbing his belly. He was in a bad mood, turning grief and anger into appetite. Looking at Yang Fan, who was so full he could barely speak, Li Tang explained for him. In the basic spirit beast studies class, Fang Pingping was explaining the common classifications of spirit beasts. Li Tang completely shed his morning listlessness, sitting bolt upright in his seat, with his eyes fixed on the teacher. While the teacher was lecturing, he even nodded and pondered unconsciously. When the teacher asked a question, Li Tang immediately shot his right hand up high, leaning his upper body forward so much that but even left the seat. With such an eager attitude, it was as if the teacher would be committing a crime if he didn't call on him. This is Li Tang, the monitor of Class 2, right? The first one in this year to reach level 2, right? With this attitude in class, he's truly a good student. Fang Pingping had been teaching Beastmaster professional courses for more than 10 years, and students this enthusiastic about spirit beast studies were genuinely rare. Should I give him a reward point? It's only the first class. Better wait a bit longer. Life is like a play, and it all depends on acting. After class, Li Tang immediately stepped forward and asked, Teacher Fang, your lecture was truly wonderful, clear, and easy to understand. May I ask you a question? Nice. The way Fang Pingping looked at Li Tang was like a sect elder looking at the sect's favored prodigy. Of course you can. Ask. Among spirit beasts suitable for first-tier beastmasters, which type has both high talent levels and the greatest numbers? That's a false proposition. The higher the talent level, the fewer there generally are. If we're talking purely about numbers, insects, swine, canines, and felines are relatively more numerous. For example, moonlight wolves are pack spirit beasts distributed in many places, so their numbers are fairly large. In one pack, The alpha wolf is generally third tier, while dozens of ordinary wolves are first tier or second tier. But if a moonlight wolf evolves and becomes a moon-devouring frenzy wolf with fifth tier talent, it will basically leave the pack and live and hunt alone. The problem is that among 1,000 moonlight wolves, it's hard for even one to become a moon-devouring frenzy wolf. The weak huddle together. The strong mostly walk a lonely path. Teacher Fong, those words of yours are truly classic, a famous saying full of philosophy. Li Tang followed up with flattery, then asked, "So teacher, is it very hard for spirit beasts to evolve?" This is part of the second-year curriculum, but I'll briefly tell you about it in advance. Wild spirit beasts and fierce beasts can only possibly evolve when they encounter suitable heavenly treasures and grow through fighting and slaughter. Fong Pingping looked at Li Tang, his eyes full of fondness, and continued, "Of course, beast tamers are also constantly exploring spirit beast evolution. So you need to get into a good university. Good universities all have research labs, and they have basically worked out some evolution paths and methods for spirit beasts." "All right, thank you, Teacher Fong. I gained a lot today." It's nothing. Fong Pingping thought for a moment and said, "Well, Li Tang, next month, I'll have an in-class quiz, so you need to prepare well." "Okay, teacher, I'll definitely be first in the class." Li Tang made the promise confidently, then gave Fong Pingping a slight bow and saw him out of the classroom. Fong Pingping left the classroom with a satisfied expression, thinking, "Loves studying, is polite, levels up quickly, and although his talent is F rank, insight, this ability was originally B rank. Actually, he wouldn't be considered weak even in Class 1. Young Fan, sitting in his seat, looked at the humble, inquisitive, and courteous Li Tang, so shocked that his mouth hung open. Is this still the Li Tang who used to run wild with me in elementary and middle school? Still the troublemaker in the teacher's eyes? Still the average student who thought getting decent grades was enough? Brother, you've changed. What a bootlicker." Vice Class Monitor Qin Rue wore a look of disdain from his seat. Yun Zuan looked at Li Tang in front of her, her gaze becoming resolute, as if she had found a goal. Then her face reddened a little, and she lowered her head and lay on the desk. Every inch of progress brings its own joy. In the teacher's office of the beast taming area, Zhou Shumi listened to the three specialized subject teachers constantly praising Li Tang and couldn't help but curl her lip. He is quite tenacious. Otherwise, he wouldn't have become class monitor. After all, he was a student from her class, and also the class monitor, so Zhou Shumi couldn't undermine herself. Zhou Shumi couldn't help thinking back to when high school had just started, the first time she saw Li Tang. He led the class in whistling. Then, as soon as the first week of military training began, he took the lead in asking for a break. Later, he even dragged the whole class into a talent competition with other classes, encouraging the girls to do a hot dance. She beat him up twice because of it. And after that he behaved much better, but he was obviously still a thorn in the side. If a troublemaker has changed his nature, he's probably asking something from someone.